All right, traders, so watch this video for Tuesday, March 12th. You can see from the SPY here, really nice daily candle, very strong day. If you're a day trader, you work from home and your neighbors know you're a day trader, they come home from work and they say the Dow's up 200 something points or whatever it was up. I bet my neighbor did really well today, and I wish that were the case all the time. Well, no, I don't, because on weekdays I have some very nice days, even though the market can be ugly. So what I am saying, though, is that's not the case for me today. Really big, nice day in the market, and I hit over double my daily loss limit. And if you're wondering what the hell's a daily loss limit, it is where you're supposed to stop trading. And then, you can log in the next day and you maybe make up the entire loss that day, or at least over the course of the next 2 days if you're a steady trader. I like to think I am. But today I blew off my rules, and I do think there's a great lesson here. I'm not going to spend any more of the video whining, but I do want to talk exactly about what I did wrong, the trade I took that really got me, and hopefully someone can benefit from that. Because, it's really easy to say, it's really easy to have an ugly day and then just say, damn, I just couldn't trade today, or I was lousy. But it's really more important to reflect and actually look at what you did. And that's why people always say track your trades, keep notes. These after hours videos are kind of my notes. If I have a big screw up, I come right out and put it in my video, and that is sort of like my trade tracker. It's how I hold myself accountable. So my first couple trades met my parameters, but they were Monday morning trades, and usually I don't trade the first hour or so on Mondays because so many people have FOMO after the weekend and they just chase stocks, and that never works out well. But I could at least give reasons for my entries that I took today. They just didn't work. So that put me down almost at my daily loss limit. But that's no big deal because both of the trades made sense to me. They just didn't work. But I want to talk about the one that took me from, down within my daily loss limit to actually a nasty day for me. Almost 2.5 times my daily loss limit. I think there's a great lesson here. All right, so you ready? If you've noticed lately, and you probably heard me saying how frustrating it is, a lot of these stocks, especially like the lower float stocks, lower volume, low price stocks, are closing strong, and then they just go crazy in after hours. All right, so I'll show you just an example right now. GLBS never made it easy today. As a matter of fact, I was already out of the office. I had left when it probably looked like this, and then I see that, oh wow, it had a nice strong close. So back to the daily, you can say, hey, this one bottoming tail, but look at that, closing all the way near its highs. Well, long story short, this went up through 10 in after hours, and we're seeing this so much, and it frustrates the living out of me because it's really making for tough trading. I keep seeing this, and the big moves are happening in after hours. Okay, so here's the mistake I made. It was on DCAR. Now you have to try to picture DCAR at the time I fell in love with it. And usually in the last 90 minutes or so, I start looking at charts. I look at the dailies and say, hey, how is this going to look when people get home from work and do some scans, or when traders do scans from maybe stocks they didn't see that day, right? And keep in mind, this was up in the 450, 60, 70 area. So it was a solid green candle. It was massive volume. They just did a reverse split. You can see 1 for 6. So it's low float. And it's up here near the highs. Now, to me, if this closes at 490, right? If everything looks exactly the same, but it closes at like 490, just with the environment we're in, I fully expect this thing to be trading at like 7 in after hours. That's the aggravating thing I've been seeing, okay? So I let FOMO get to me, and here's the mistake I made. This looked amazing, but my problem was we weren't that close to the closing bell yet, okay? So now it looks like this, and now it's on my watch list for tomorrow, but it didn't close such that I would have expected it to run in after hours, and it's not. But if this closes up near 5, just in the current environment, this doesn't mean every stock every time, but with what I've been seeing, I think this thing 6, 7, or 8 in after hours, none of it would have surprised me. Okay, so let's go to 5-minute candles. So it kind of caught my attention. Let me get this right here. Yeah, when it's getting massive, biggest volume stick of the day. I mean, that looks a little bit like intraday capitulation, but I look at the daily and I say, you know what, this sucker, this could run in after hours. I want to get involved, right? So I nibble right here as it starts to come down right around the half. Does this little bounce? I think I'm a genius, and I'm actually going to add over 480, right? I'm really thinking, okay, and at this point, I'm green, but a little bit. I'm actually going to add over 480. And then I think we rip through 493. I think we rip through the whole number 5 and we squeeze into the close. But even if it just closes here, I was going to hold some into after hours, and I never do that. My partner Wayne, we built the trading course together. He always says, and I love the way he puts it, he says, don't press the trigger, excuse me, don't take a trade unless everything, everything meaning all the parameters that we teach, unless it jumps off the page at you, right? All right, so this one, it looks good. The daily looks really good if it closes strong. But the problem was, I'm getting involved, there's still an hour and a half left. Okay, if this looks like this and we're 5 minutes from the closing bell, in the current environment, I'm probably buying more and holding it into the close. And believe me, I never do that, but I had a little bit of FOMO. I would have at least felt decent about that. But instead, I held it through the bounce. I was getting ready to add, and then it does this. And I probably sold, somewhere near the bottom of this. And it just, again, it took me from slightly below my daily loss limit. Remember, daily loss limits are there for a reason. When you hit it, you stop. To almost 2.5 times my daily loss limit. So now, I'm thinking, Jesus, did I forget how to trade? That's an ugliest I've had in over a year. So the important thing for me to understand is everything you were thinking made sense. You, meaning I'm talking to myself. Mike, everything you were thinking made sense, but it wasn't close to the closing bell, right? So we didn't have that handsome looking daily close, and instead it closed down here. All right. Having said all that, I did want to share that with you. PXS I think is another one. PXS, a shipper, GLBS ran, so PXS ran, and this went up to like $1.90 in after hours. I mean, it's not a huge example, but we just keep seeing this over and over. It's really aggravating. FOMO got to me, and I jumped in on what I would say doesn't jump off the page at me. It was, hey, I'm going to nibble on a pullback because I think this thing's going to rip in after hours, right? That's nothing I teach in the course. That's nothing I do. But the important thing I can take away from this is, hey, you lost your ass today, but not because, you traded poorly. It's because you didn't follow any of your rules, right? And I did let FOMO get to me, not in the normal sense of FOMO in that, I chased something, but FOMO in I'm sick of missing out on these things that are running in after hours and making the huge move in after hours. And, so tomorrow I start fresh. Tomorrow's day one of my new trading career, because that's always the way I look at it after Wayne calls it a cleanse. And I have about one of them a year, and Jesus, it seems like every one of them happens in March. I'm again, this isn't, I didn't blow up my account. I feel like in 5 days probably of just steady trading, I should be back to new highs for the year, as long as I don't do this again. But the best teacher for me is the pain of being stupid, right? The pain of doing something that doesn't meet your parameters. So anyway, I don't want to ramble on anymore. I hope there's a lesson in there for you guys. Every time I deviate from what I know, because I see this working over here, even though it's not what I do in this working, it usually costs me, and it did again today. All right? So what am I watching for tomorrow? DCIX. Again, I've just got a few shippers on watch because of GLBS, the strong close, the after hours move. So DCIX is one of them because it's kind of interesting. It gapped up right up close to the whole number, $1, and then a red candle. So everybody who is short this overnight or when tomorrow, if we break through $1, we might get a little kind of mini squeeze, maybe test these highs or test the 200-day. And that is if shippers run. So keep that in mind. PXS also had this huge move back here. It's coming out of a nice, a nice tight base down here, and it's kind of breaking free. It's also extended, just like these other ones. But if these shippers give me a good setup, I'll take a trade. ARQL had this big pop, couple days lower. That goes on long watch. AWSM, I'm still watching this one. It went up today and hit 399. Yesterday's high 390. The day before that 410. So I really do kind of like this back through 4. The whole number could be an inflection point. I like the fact that it spiked up there, came back down, but you can pretty much picture a little tight flag here. I'm not going to draw the lines, but you can kind of picture it, right? So we rip through 4 tomorrow. We might test these recent highs. Nice volume recently, right? HYRE, ride sharing, anything to do with that, the drop car. worth watching. And this was another reason I like that DCAR is because HYRE looked really good. This is all the trading ever because I guess they came public back in June of 2018. So you have this huge cup and the cup and handle. You got, or you could call this a nice little flag here, back through 6. You've got another catalyst of 608, and then probably a test of the 650 all-time highs. So it's a pretty nice chart setup too. So I want to watch that one. I'll show you DCAR again. I wish it would have closed stronger, but it goes on watch tomorrow because of this massive volume. The reverse split did lower the float, so we might catch a trade there. GLBS, talked about that one already. Again, trading in after hours right now at 9:10. Again, this one is really got slapped down. When it got over 10 back here and here, I mean, it really got slapped down. So for me, I don't really trust GLBS after this big move. But if it like rips without me, I'll quickly look at PXS, DCIX, and see if they're giving a setup. And actually, the shipper that started it all is this ESEA a few days ago. I'm going to put that on a chart somewhere where I can monitor it tomorrow as well. So I'm just throwing. I'm not going to put that on my watch list, but I'll have it on a chart. JMU, if there's any kind of positive China news, this is my go-to. You had the big move back here and really just kind of flagging on lower volume. So any kind of China tariff possible agreement, JMU is going to be my go-to. PYX, really nice intraday move today. It doesn't look like much on the daily because it's just come back up into this consolidation. But and when you look at an intraday, you can kind of see, hey, that had big volume and held up really well. So that one goes on watch tomorrow, especially if the pot stocks move. And then ZSAN had this huge move back here, and then it's kind of coiling. It had a failed attempt at an upside break again here. Then it looked like it was breaking down, and then next thing you know, it's back up. Decent volume, but closing well off its highs. Enough activity there that I want to watch that one too. All right, I'm going to leave it at that. Again, those of you in chat, you know what I'm talking about when I say I'm so proud of the group there, the way you guys always look out for each other. I see the posts in chat. I saw what everybody said today. If you don't know, and again, I don't really want to talk about it, but a person posted that they lost their son, which put everything into perspective for me. I certainly wasn't going to whine about my red day, but all the posts and the camaraderie and the wonderful prayers and everything in chat really warms my heart. And there was other stuff in chat today too. So I'm just super proud of the team that you guys have become. And I'm going to leave it at that. All right, I'm done babbling. We'll see everybody in chat tomorrow.